The story of Saint Waccar. In the mid-8th century, the world of Christianity was expanding rapidly, particularly in the wild, untamed regions of northern Europe. Among the missionaries sent to bring the faith to these lands was a humble Benedictine monk named Waccar, who dedicated his life to God, alongside men who shared his fervor for spreading the gospel. Waccar, like his brothers in Christ, was a companion to the famed missionary Saint Boniface, a man of unshakable faith and courage, who was known for his tireless work in converting the pagan tribes of Germania. Saint Waccar hailed from a monastic background, nurtured in the silence and discipline of the Benedictine order. His life was one of prayer, study, and service. Yet, Waccar's calling did not rest in the peaceful walls of a monastery. He was drawn to the missionary work of Saint Boniface, feeling a deep conviction to join him on his perilous journeys to the pagan heartlands. Together with other monks like Eliher, Hathawulf, Haduif, Gundakar, and countless others, Waccar ventured into regions where the cross of Christ was not yet known and where the dangers of persecution loomed ever present. Their mission was not only to preach the gospel, but to plant the seeds of Christian communities among the Germanic tribes. Saint Boniface and his companions were men of great patience and understanding, learning the local languages, respecting the native customs, and slowly introducing the Christian faith to those who were open to its message. Waccar, with his quiet wisdom and devotion, was a trusted confidant of Boniface, often aiding in delicate negotiations and supporting the newly baptized Christians with his teachings. But the work was not without its enemies. Pagan chieftains and warriors, deeply rooted in their ancient traditions and beliefs, saw the growing influence of Christianity as a threat to their power. Tensions were rising, and the once peaceful efforts of the monks became the target of violent opposition. In the year 754 A.D., during a missionary journey in the region of Frisia, modern-day Netherlands, Saint Boniface and his followers, including Waccar, planned to hold a confirmation ceremony for new converts. It was a moment of great joy and anticipation as they prepared to welcome many more souls into the Christian fold. They gathered near the town of Dockum, where they had set up camp, unaware that their enemies had been plotting an attack. As the morning of June 5th dawned, the missionary group, comprised of 52 monks, including Waccar, rose for prayer, ready to carry out their sacred duties. But instead of the peaceful congregation they expected, they were met with a band of hostile warriors. The pagans, driven by hatred for the new faith and fear of losing their ancestral ways, descended upon the missionaries, swords drawn. Saint Boniface, ever the fearless leader, called for peace and urged his companions not to fight back. He held up a book of the Gospels, hoping to shield himself and his brothers from the violence, trusting in God's protection. But the pagans were merciless. One by one, the missionaries were struck down, their blood staining the ground where they had preached peace and salvation. Among the martyrs that day was Saint Waccar, who died alongside Saint Boniface, Eliher, Hathawulf, Haduif, and Gundakar, along with the 48 other holy men who had given their lives for the faith. They did not resist, choosing instead to follow Christ's example of sacrifice, laying down their lives for the sake of the gospel. The deaths of Saint Waccar and his companions were a tragic blow, but they were not in vain. The blood of the martyrs became the seed of the church, as the saying goes. In time, Christianity spread throughout the region, and the memory of these holy men was honored for generations to come. Their courage and faith were celebrated, and they were revered as martyrs of the Benedictine order. Today, the Church remembers Saint Waccar and his companions on June 5th, the day of their martyrdom. They stand as shining examples of unwavering faith and dedication to God, inspiring countless others to follow the path of righteousness, even in the face of death. Through his martyrdom, Saint Waccar's life continues to echo the words of Christ. "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." John 15:13. He remains a symbol of humble devotion, service, and sacrifice in the name of the gospel, alongside the great Saint Boniface and the band of brothers who died with him.